I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah, and this is Nightline, the top stories. Cabinet's achievements commendable, though not without imperfections. And safety aspects at all LRT stations to be improved following fatal fall. Yang Di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim has safely returned to the country after undergoing medical treatment abroad. His Majesty's special aircraft arrived at the Royal Malaysian Air Force RMAF base in Subang at 7 a.m. on Saturday. According to a post on Sultan Ibrahim's official Facebook page, the King was welcomed upon arrival by the Comptroller of the Royal Household of Istana Negara, Dato' Zailani Hashim, the Grand Chamberlain of Istana Negara, Dato' Azwan Effendi Zaira Kifnaini, and other officials from Istana Negara. His Majesty also expressed his gratitude to the people for their prayers and well wishes for his health. Sultan Ibrahim left Malaysia on February 7th to undergo treatment for musculoskeletal pain. The Cabinet's achievements so far have been commendable, though not without imperfections. Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim stated that Cabinet members have welcomed constructive criticism and are committed to improving their performance to provide the best service to the people and the nation.
Kalau setakat ini, saya tidak mengatakan semuanya sempurna, tetapi prestasinya membanggakan kerana mereka ambil serius kerja mereka, mengambil serius teguran yang mereka terima dan mengambil langkah-langkah yang perlu untuk memperbaiki prestasi.
Anwar said this at a media conference following the conclusion of the two-day 2025 Madani Government Cabinet Retreat in Bangi, Selangor on Saturday. He added that during the two-day retreat, the Cabinet members' past performance received various feedback from different parties, including academics and civil servants. He also said that several key issues were also highlighted in the session, including global geopolitical developments, the country's preparations as the ASEAN chair, and the rising cost of living. Meanwhile, Anwar denied allegations that the government is imposing conditions on opposition members of parliament to receive allocations. He stressed that discussions should be conducted constructively and without unfounded accusations.
Kita telah beri mandat penuh kepada TPM Tun Sri Fadilah untuk menemui mereka, tapi seperti mana kita tahu dah 2 tahun lebih dia berdolak dalih, jadi kita tak ada masalah. Itu kita dah beri ruang. Jadi saya dalam jadi tugas bila kita bagi mandat penuh dan kita beri penghormatan, tak payah saya sendiri dalam semua hal. Saya nak jumpa mereka secara berasingan tak apa, tapi kalau dalam maudhu ini memang mandat diberikan oleh semua oleh Jemaah Menteri dan semua parti dalam kerajaan Madani. Jadi saya rasa benda ni boleh, jangan dihebahkan di luar.
Former Prime Minister Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob is in stable condition after collapsing at his home due to high blood pressure at around 2:30 a.m. on Saturday. His press secretary, Azwan Fitri Rahim, confirmed that while Ismail Sabri is fully conscious, he remains under close medical observation at a private hospital in Kota Damansara. Doctors have advised against visitors for now, allowing only immediate family members to see him until his condition improves. Ismail Sabri has served as the Beara Member of Parliament since 2004. He was sworn in as the 9th Prime Minister on August 21st, 2021. Safety aspects at all light rail transit LRT stations will be improved following a fatal accident at Titi Wangsa station on Saturday that claimed the life of a blind man. Transport Minister Anthony Loke stated that his ministry is working closely with all relevant parties, particularly Prasarana Malaysia Berhad, to conduct a thorough investigation into the incident. In a statement on his Facebook page, Lok extended his condolences to the victim's family and those affected, describing the tragedy as deeply saddening. He also said that he had directed the public transport operator to review and enhance safety measures at all train stations, with a particular focus on facilities for persons with disabilities. As an immediate step, Lok announced that Prasarana will install smart closed-circuit television (CCTVs) capable of detecting risky behavior. In the long term, Prasarana also plans to install platform screen doors (PSD) across all LRT lines to enhance passenger safety. Passengers requiring assistance at stations, including persons with disabilities, are also advised to seek help from Prasarana staff or police officers at the station. Lok also emphasized that passenger safety and well-being remain the ministry's top priorities, adding that the government is committed to ensuring a safer, more inclusive and user-friendly public transport system for all Malaysians. In the 8:38 a.m. incident, the blind man was found dead on the tracks at the Titiwangsa LRT station in Kuala Lumpur. The victim is believed to have been run over by a passing train after falling onto the tracks. Emergency personnel from the Sentul and Titiwangsa fire and rescue stations were immediately dispatched to the scene. Health Ministry personnel later confirmed the victim's death. His remains were then taken to the Kuala Lumpur hospital for post-mortem. Based on initial investigation, it is believed that the victim lost his balance and fell onto the tracks before being struck by the train. Investigations are ongoing to determine the exact cause of the incident. Train services at the PWTC, Titiwangsa, Sentul and Sentul Timur LRT stations, which were temporarily suspended following the incident, have now fully resumed. Air Kuning Assemblyman Isham Shahrudin has passed away at the Pulau Pinang Hospital on Saturday. The 59-year-old was admitted to the hospital after losing consciousness before a football match at City Stadium in Georgetown. According to North East District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Abdul Razak Mohammed, Isam collapsed at about 5:20 p.m. while greeting other players on the sidelines of the Pulau Pinang Chief Minister's Football Cup Championship. The ex-footballer was then rushed to the hospital after receiving emergency aid on the field. However, Isam was pronounced dead at the hospital's emergency department at 6:28 p.m. His remains will be brought back to Ipoh and will be buried at the Rapat Setia Muslim Cemetery on Sunday. The Tapah UMNO chief won the Air Kuning state seat with a majority of 2,213 votes in the 15th general election. Before entering politics, Isam played professional football for Perak FA, Negeri Sembilan FA and represented the national team in 1987. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has expressed his heartfelt condolences to Isam's family. In a post on his Facebook page, Zahir, who is also the UMNO president, stated that he was deeply saddened to hear the passing of the Air Kuning Assemblyman. He also prayed that the late Isam's soul be blessed with mercy and placed amongst the righteous. The government is set to table, debate and seek to pass the Parliamentary Services Bill 2025 along with the Federal Constitutional Amendment Bill 2025 during the current Dewan Rakyat session. Government spokesman Fahmi Fadzil stated that the Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Seri Azlina Othman Said, would table the two bills for their first reading and elaborate on their contents on Monday. In a statement on Saturday, Fahmi said that the Parliamentary Services Bill 2025 is the first step in institutional reform efforts and the enhancement of the country's key democratic institutions. Through the bill, a parliamentary council will be established and jointly chaired by the Dewan Negara President and Dewan Rakyat Speaker, while the Constitutional Amendment Bill will facilitate the council's formation. The Cabinet has also agreed for Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim to table the bills for the second reading expected on March 4th. The supply of essential goods is expected to remain stable and sufficient to meet the demand ahead of Ramadan and Aidilfitri. This is based on the ongoing monitoring and enforcement efforts by the Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry, KPDN, at all levels of the supply chain, including producers, wholesalers and retailers nationwide.
Itu semua dah kita tengok dah ni, especially bawang lah, dia merupakan barang asas ya bila nak masak. Tapi saya tengok semualah ada barang Spain, bawang Holland, bawang India, bawang Bombay, semua ada. From China pun ada. Ya, jadi ada variety dan ada choice dan harga dia amat murah.
She added that KPDN will also collaborate with the Agriculture and Food Security Ministry to ensure sufficient supply of essential goods such as packet cooking oil, eggs, sugar, vegetables, fruits and dates in the market. However, she acknowledged that there has been a price increase for coconuts and coconut milk in Peninsular Malaysia. Following this, 3 investigation papers have been opened to identify the cause of the price hike and implement necessary control measures. The government should hand out targeted subsidies initiatives in the form of vouchers rather than in cash aids. Centre for Market Education Chief Executive Officer Carmelo Falito said this method will ensure the subsidies' fair distribution and then allow the market to solve the problem on its own.
If I'm a person in the need, the government can only know the average data, can know the incomes, but cannot know the actual usage and need of each household.
Yes.
It will be too complicated, go at that level of detail.
Yeah, definitely.
So let the market work on that details to support the policy.
Falito said this in an episode of TV3's flagship financial and business talk show Money Matters, which was aired on Saturday. He also believed that the government's targeted subsidy measures can boost investor confidence by demonstrating commitment to its policies. He added that beyond subsidy rationalization, Malaysia can also introduce a solid institutional framework to attract investors in order to sustain the country's economic competitiveness among ASEAN countries.
So what Malaysia can offer to investors that these countries cannot yet offer is a solid institutional framework which is welcoming investment with less red tape, with less regulation and more business-friendly ecosystem. This is where Malaysia can really win the game.
In Klang, chaos erupted at Meru's Central Market Complex early Saturday morning as foreign traders and visitors scattered upon spotting an enforcement team from the Selangor Immigration Department. During the 5 a.m. operation, some illegal migrants made desperate attempts to evade capture by lying flat in drains, crouching under market tables and attempting to flee the premises. Immigration Department Deputy Director General for Operations Jafri Mbok Taha stated that 630 foreigners were detained for various immigration offences, while 32 were released following inspections. Those detained included 628 men and 2 women aged between 17 and 57, comprising 530 Myanmar nationals, 85 Bangladeshis, 9 Indonesians, 5 Indians and 1 Nepalese. All detainees were sent to the Semenyih Immigration Depot for further action and investigation. Among the offences detected were lacking valid travel documents, violating visa conditions and overstaying. Checks also revealed that some foreign nationals were running businesses illegally, either by operating their own stalls or renting them from the original owners at exorbitant rates. Police have obtained a 7-day remand from the Kuala Kubu Baru Magistrates Court for a 19-year-old suspect to assist in its investigation into the alleged sexual assault of a girl at the mosque in Batangkali, Selangor on Friday. The remand order until February 28 was granted by Magistrate Nurul Izzah Hassan Basri on Saturday morning. The suspect was arrested shortly after the incident, which occurred at the mosque during Subuh or morning prayers. The case is being investigated under the Sexual Offences Against Children Act. Closed-circuit television CCTV footage of the incident, which went viral on social media, showed the suspect sneaking into the women's section of a mosque before grabbing the victim from behind while she was praying in the back row of the congregation. The suspect then carried the girl out of the prayer area but fled when the victim resisted. Red Giants end decade-long title drought. Sports after this breather.
Saat malam berguling lenamu dan cahaya pagi menyambar dirimu, ukir senyuman manis di pipimu, pujaanmu selalu saja. Aku yang sayang, derasnya cerita engkau putar-putar, menyadap jendela terbuka tak untuk kau melihat sempurna. Mana mungkin ada antara kita asa sederhana hidup yang sementara, biar bebas dari kepala.
Welcome to Jumanji.
Lebih mencabar, lebih huru-hara, lebih pelik, berjayakah mereka keluar dari Jumanji The Next Level Ahad ini 9 malam di Magnificent 8 TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Anak kerap sakit perut, kembung atau sembelit.
Puncanya boleh disebabkan mungkin diet yang tidak cukup serat. Tapi yang paling penting untuk sembelit ni ialah menahan membuang air besar.
Jika dibiarkan, ia boleh mengganggu tumbesaran mereka.
Muntah dan cirit yang diminum terus keluar, terus muntah. Kalau kanak-kanak, risiko untuk dehidrasi itu lebih tinggi.
Sakit perut dan pencernaan kanak-kanak kami bincangkan dalam Hello Doktor Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
We're back with sports. Cycling, the 2025 Asian Championships Elite. National track cyclist Nurul Izzah Izzati Aswi shattered her own national individual sprint record en route to the semi-finals at the National Velodrome on Saturday. The 22-year-old finished in third place after clocking 10.685 seconds, eclipsing her previous record of 10.709 seconds, which she set at the 2024 Paris Olympics in the qualifying round of the event. The Kedah native was in her best form as she stormed past compatriot Nor Elisa Farid 2-0 in the quarterfinals to book a semi-final clash with China's Gao Yufeng on Sunday. On to football, the MFL Challenge Cup. Selangor FC ended their long wait for silverware in emphatic style, thrashing 10-man PDRM FC 4-0 in the second leg to seal a 7-0 aggregate triumph on Saturday night. At the MBPJ Stadium, Ali Olwan gave the Red Giants the lead just 4 minutes into the game before Johandri Orozco extended their advantage 5 minutes later. The Cops' nightmare worsened when Aizrul Ashraf Nor Effendi saw red in the 21st minute, reducing them to 10 men. Ronnie Fernandez made it 3-0 for Selangor after heading home Quintin Cheng's cross on the half-hour mark. Orozco then sealed his brace in the 80th minute to complete the rout. This marks Katsuhito Kinoshi's men's first domestic title since their Malaysia Cup triumph in 2015. Still on football, the Saudi Pro League, Al Ettifaq stunned Al Nassr and the vociferous home crowd by twice coming from behind and snatching a late winner to secure a notable 3-2 victory. After a goalless first half, the match came into life 2 minutes after the restart, with Ayman Yahya opening the scoring for the home side. Al Ettifaq, however, equalised in the 55th minute after Mohammad Al-Fatil's miscontrol through ball found Giorgino Wijnaldum, who rounded Bento before sliding the ball into the net. Al-Fatil briefly made up for his error by restoring Al Nassr's lead from a corner 10 minutes later, but then diverted a Mohammad Abdul Rahman's cross into his own net in the 82nd minute to make it 2-2. The match looked set for a share of the points when Wijnaldum fired home the winner, sealing a memorable 3-2 victory for Al Ettifaq. With the win, Al Ettifaq moved up to 8th in the table, while Al Nassr slipped to their first defeat in 8 league outings. Tennis now, the 2025 Rio Open. Francisco Comisana survived another 3-set battle and claimed the biggest win of his career over Alexander Zverev to charge into the semi-finals on Friday. The Argentine rallied from 1-4 in the deciding set to stun the top seed 4-6, 6-3, 6-4 at the ATP 500 event to reach his first tour-level semi-final. The 24-year-old won the final 5 games of the set to triumph in 2 hours and 31 minutes, setting up a meeting with Alexander Muller. Earlier, Frenchman Muller reached the semi-finals by beating 4th-seeded Argentinian Francisco Cerundolo 7-5, 6-1 in the quarterfinals. The victory means Muller has reached his 3rd ATP semi-final and his first at the 500 level. Three dead in Peru shopping mall roof collapse. The details when Nightline returns.
Sambut kedatangan Ramadan bersama Shopee.
Saksikan gelagat menari artis kegemaran anda.
Duga peluang untuk menangi shilling Shopee.
Voucher serta pelbagai tawaran hebat.
Secara langsung 24 Februari
9 malam di Shopee Live
dan TV3.
Sekarang kan tengah musim hujan dan banjir. Jika anda tidak mampu menyelamatkan masa banjir, carilah bantuan daripada pihak yang pakar dalam kerja menyelamat. Jangan bahayakan diri anda. Fikir sebelum bertindak. Anda mampu menyelamatkan nyawa.
Welcome to Jumanji.
Lebih mencabar. Lebih huru-hara. Lebih pelik. Berjayakah mereka keluar dari Jumanji The Next Level Ahad ini 9 malam di Magnificent 8 TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui tonton.
Dari kisah inspirasi hingga detik penuh romantis menyelami kisah penuh makna.
I dapat tahu yang dia single, I cepat-cepatlah DM dia kat Instagram. Kita orang daki Gunung Kinabalu. Dia tanya, will you marry me? And I said yes.
Lahir normal, umur 6 tahun tu tumbuh sarang terbantut.
Saya reda dan saya bersyukur sebab sesuatu Tuhan bagi tu memang kita tak boleh nampak.
Yang ni barang-barang hiasan untuk pelengkapkan baju busana Cik Siti berkembang. Kalau rabat-rabat aja, ada pakai mahkota.
Siasatan motif jenayah menemui jalan buntu.
Yes, do it now. Make it fast. Cari maklumat setiap mangsa.
Siapakah yang merancang segalanya?
Viral lah sekarang. Kecoh satu Malaysia.
Dan berapa ramai lagi yang akan menjadi mangsa?
Cakaplah jangan buang masa kami.
Nanti dulu. Kita jangan terburu-buru sebab target kita sebenarnya lagi besar daripada ni.
Gerak khas Undercover setiap Ahad 11.30 pagi di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui tonton.
Welcome back. At least 2 Palestinian children were shot in the back and killed by Zionist forces in the occupied West Bank. The Palestinian Health Ministry confirmed that Ayman Nasser al-Hamouni, 12, was killed in Hebron, while 13-year-old Rimas al-Amori was shot in the Jenin governorate. It was reported that Zionist forces opened fire on al-Hamouni and shot him when he was visiting relatives south of Hebron. He was then rushed to the hospital where he died from his injuries. Meanwhile, al-Amori was killed by Zionist forces in the Jenin refugee camp, with witnesses saying she was shot in front of her family's home by Zionist forces who were stationed nearby. The killings come as the Zionist military carries out large-scale raids across the occupied West Bank for several weeks now. At least 3 people were killed and about 74 others were injured after the roof of a food court at the busy shopping center collapsed in northern Peru. The collapse occurred at the Real Plaza shopping complex in Trujillo on Friday, the country's 3rd largest city. Local media reported that dozens of families were in the food court of the shopping mall when the roof collapsed. Officials said the number of injured has risen to 74, up from the earlier report of 20, with 10 children among them. The search for survivors was ongoing, with more than 100 firefighters and police officers searching through the debris. Authorities have launched an investigation to determine the cause. U.S. President Donald Trump on Friday fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Air Force General Charles Quintin Brown, and pushed out 5 other admirals and generals in an unprecedented shakeup of U.S. military leadership. Trump said that he would nominate former Lieutenant General Dan Kane to succeed Brown, breaking with tradition by pulling someone out of retirement for the first time to become the top military officer. The president will also replace the head of the U.S. Navy, a position held by Admiral Lisa Franchetti, as well as the Air Force Vice Chief of Staff. He is also removing the Judge Advocate General for the Army, Navy, and Air Force, key roles in enforcing military justice. Trump's decision sets off a period of upheaval at the Pentagon, which was already bracing for mass firings of civilian staff, budget changes, and a shift in military deployments under his new America First foreign policy.
Tremendous amounts of money are being lost, and we think we can do something.
Germans are set to take to polling stations to decide on their next government in Sunday's federal election. 4 candidates competing for the top chancellor job, including incumbent Olaf Scholz of the Social Democratic Party, SPD, Friedrich Merz of the Christian Democratic Union, CDU, Robert Habeck of the Greens Party, and far-right Alice Weidel of the Alternative for Germany, AfD. According to the most recent polls, the CDU is expected to win the election as they lead the race with a projection of about 30% support, followed by the AfD, who made a dramatic comeback in the German political scene and are projected to win about 20%. The SPD and Greens Party are trailing, with Scholz projected to secure about 16% of the vote and Habeck at about 13%. Hopes have been raised across Europe that the vote will bring some certainty to the EU's biggest economy, which has struggled to escape from lingering recession. This time around, before we leave, let's take a look at visuals of Media Prima Sports Carnival held on Saturday. 2 major trophies were out for grabs, which saw Omnia crowned champions in the Football 7-a-side event, while TV Network's News and Current Affairs Pitch Perfect bagged the top prize in the netball tournament. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend.